Hey guys, new video here. I'm going to talk about sextants today and how they kind of match up with some of these regions. This is going to be more of a new player oriented video. I'm not going to go over like every sextant there is, but more so ones that kind of apply to these new skill points, right? Because I get asked that a lot, like, what do you use with this region? What do you use with that region? And if you guys want, maybe I can make an updated sextant video going over every little one. On the left side of my screen, like right over here, I've pulled up some images of just like what some of the sextants might say, and the most notable uses of them if you want to just like squeeze out a little bit more juice, a little bit more efficiency. So going into it, if you don't know this league, when you're putting all the sextants, there's almost always going to be like within those four that you use, given that you're using four, there's almost always going to be one that like kind of pertains to a certain region of the atlas, and I'll kind of like tell you if it's worth it to do that and where you should put that. So the first one that you see here, I'm just gonna like go over. This is just like area contains like Alba, Einhar, Zaba, Nico, and June, right? So these are the masters. They're pretty rare. If you go to the PoE wiki, you're gonna see weightings of these. So 1000 is like pretty common. They're the most common weightings, and then about like 125, 250. Those are the more rare ones. Okay, you can look this up once again on PoE wiki. So this one is relatively rare. You're not gonna get all the time, but if you do get these, I would suggest moving the watchstone directly into a region that has those corresponding points if you've chosen to take them, and of course if you have fun doing that master. So how you do that is if you have the master rolled right here, for example, right, and it's on this watchstone, you can just go ahead and swap it for another region. For example, let's say that these two, you roll a sextant here, and it is a Nico mission, and you're like, oh man, I really wanna target Nico. So let's just see, is there Nico here? Actually, this one's not the Nico one. Where is it? Like right here, for example. Okay, you see that this has like all the Nico nodes, and if you love delving, what you're gonna do is you're just simply going to take the Nico watchstone and swap it for the other watchstone. You can freely do that as long as they are the same color. And then you now have Nico right here as the example, right? And then you can benefit from all of that. So this works across all the masters. Every master has like their specialized zone. For example, like Alba, some of them have two, but there's almost always going to be one that's like better than the others. So for example, like Alba has what I believe to be the better nodes would be right here, right? Like I think these four are better because you get higher tier rooms. Einhar, I think he has a couple. One of them was nerfed, like this node right here. Where is it actually? The other node for Einhar was nerfed. So like looking into Einhar, I honestly think that like sometimes like this one might be better because like the one that had every pack replaced with a rare red mob is now gone, right? And so on and so forth. So what you're gonna do, June also is should be put right here. Reason being that if you're gonna do June, you can go ahead and put her here, and every time you are switching out the members of a safe house, when you upgrade them once, they upgrade twice, and then that becomes a instant 1 to 3 upgrade, and then there's like no more like necessary like worrying about, is my two targeted safe houses, are they going to be rank 3 master? So super fast there. So once again, Einar here, June right here, Alba right here in Glenach Cairns. This one is the best. A very, very quick TLDR on these two nodes, because they can sound pretty confusing. What it means is like if you have a room that is already tier 1 of something, okay, and you want to keep that room going, what's going to happen is that you pretty much have a 50% chance to, instead of upgrading once, to upgrade twice. And if you have a room that's already like tier 1 or whatever, or tier 0, and you want to change it into another room, then it has a 100% chance to become 2 upgrades higher. Okay, that's basically what it means. Don't worry too much about like the wording of like non-resident, resident. Just keep that in mind, right? If you want to keep upgrading a room, and it's already tier 1 or higher, it has a chance to go 2 tiers. Obviously, it doesn't matter if it's already tier 2, but very, very important on tier 1. And if there's no architect that's taking control, or you are switching the room, meaning like let's say you see a tier 2 or a tier 3 hurricane engine or something for whatever reason, you're like, I don't want these radiant tempests or whatever, corrupting tempests, and you want to convert it, then you get the 2 tiers when you convert it to the other room, whatever that may be. Okay, you don't need to actually counterplay this in any way. You can just run the Alba Temple as you would normally. So don't worry about that you have to do something special. Just play it as you would normally, and you'll passively get all the benefits. Okay, so Alba's there. The other one is Zaba. So Zaba is right here on the Uncharted realms. You get this from doing the special invitations, but For this one, there's not really much counterplay either, because when you put her on a map, the map that you go into that she gives you isn't affected by any of your sextants. It's not really going to be affected by too much of these nodes or anything, right? Because it's just like a separate zone for some reason. They might change that in the future. As of this recording, I don't believe if you go into a Zaba map that it will benefit from things that are in that region's talent tree. This is especially true for blighted maps as well, and maps of that nature, where if you put in a blighted map, even if it's like, for example, a barrow chambers, a blighted barrow chambers, you won't actually get any of these nodes. So I don't know if that's intended or not, but that's how it works right now. And then another thing to note is that the last master, Nico, right? So I don't delve, so I don't really have a lot of insight on this, but I just do know that there's a Nico node on Lex Proxima, and then there is a Nico node on New Vestir. Okay, so one thing you'll notice across all these zones is that Master Favor doesn't really matter at all. Master Favor is only for hideouts. If you're not a hideout decorator making like hideouts that are like 2-3 million favor, it won't really matter for you, especially if you play the game for a long time. You'll just naturally get the favor. Okay, so you can choose between those two nodes right there. Okay, so that is all the master mission. I would highly recommend that, even if you don't like, you think it's a little bit too much, that these master missions, you get 3 of them, and that's a lot, right? That's 3 days worth. If you're just like a passive player, that's 3 days worth of master missions, right? Not counting this little proc thing right here. So that's a lot of juice. So definitely just move the watchstone over and you'll get way more benefit, trust me. If you don't know anything about betrayal, this is massive. Bestiary, okay, Bestiary is kind of more RNG, but like the temple thing and everything, you get so much more out of it that's worth swapping the watchstone. So I'll definitely recommend kind of like synergizing that up. Okay, next one I want to talk about is this. So essences. Now, essences aren't really that great anymore. Even the rare ones like Horde, Essence of Delirium, Essence of Insanity, things like this, essences are kind of bad these days, and then they're also kind of cheap, right? Well, like there's some special circumstances where some might be more expensive than others, but they're not really that good. But I just want, this video is for new players, so if you did want to do a little bit of counterplay and you want to get more out of it, well, there is an essence node, and it is right here. I think, right? Wait. No, that's bumper crop. Hold on a second. Right here. So in Haywark Hamlet, you do have 4 points of essences. So you have additional essences, chance. You have, if you corrupt an essence with a remnant of corruption, it's not going to just break out the monster. You don't get anything. You will at least get some outcome of the remnant of corruption. So if you put this essence sextant into the zone, bring your remnants with you and try to have a good time, getting extra essence, upgrading essence, or getting a special essence. Okay, if it has like the necessary prerequisites for that essence. And then this one right here is just like a tier higher. Okay, that's pretty good. You might get more shrieking, wailing, not wailing, shrieking, deafening, things like that. But overall, I don't think anybody is going these nodes. So although you can move the watchstone over into this region to kind of target this if you've taken the points, not really something you should worry too much about, but that interaction is there if you are into it. The next one is going to be very important for some people, okay, that like Abyss a lot. So there are a couple zones with Abyss. Abysses are overall, like objectively, Abysses are great. They spawn a lot of monsters, they give XP, they give a lot of loot. There's a chance for a boss battle at the end. There's another whole zone. It's kind of spooky. It's kind of cool. The Abyss zones are, where are they? There is one right here. There's Abyssal Army, and then there's Votive Horde, which is like, more level of the troves, which is like better item level gems, jewels, and stuff like that. And then there's like way more monsters and way more XP, which is like always good, right? So you have this option right here, or you have another option up here. So you have more chance of Abyss, you have like quantity stuff, you have like currencies, and you have monster level, you have like more magic rares. So that's still gonna be like monster pack size, and there's gonna be quantity, right? So they're kind of the same. Both of them are good, and I would say you can just move into whichever one that you have talented. The reason I say that is because for most people, there are such good options in the other branches, in my opinion, that if you are going to go Abyss, then you're pretty much like sacrificing some of them, some of the other trees, which means that you might only have one of these places in Vestir or Tierns End that you have abysses actually slotted in, right? So for example, in here, I don't delve at all. And because delving is like, you know, 6 of these points, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, 6 of these points. And then over here is like exiles. Like, yeah, okay, exiles, right? Exiles kind of suck too, which I'll talk about later. Because I don't delve, my only option is to go into abyss. So if I got this sextant that you see right here, I would put it into here if I could. I wouldn't put it into here because, as you can see, I'm going 4 points into the evasion bosses. I know some people are gonna laugh at this, but don't. It's pretty hilarious. It's very good, to the point where I think it's actually better than the abyss one. And then I'm also gonna go my other 6 points into delirium, and then maybe like this, or like maybe this. We'll see. So I don't have room for abyss here, so I will have to put into this. But if yours is like shifted around, or you have different priorities, or you have both, then you can kind of choose what you want to do there. But abyss, I would say, is definitely worth moving a watchstone over to get this roll. Okay, and because of that, you know, you're gonna find that just like the last sections we talked about, where it's like super worth it, you're gonna instantly both notice the value of that. Like it's not like you won't feel it, right? It really sucks when you do something and you go into that, you're like, I don't think I noticed a difference. You will notice the difference of these, so it's an absolute recommend to move the watchstone over. Okay, the next one is now this one's beyond, and this one's kind of interesting because it's super rare, right? It's a 250 weighting. It only shows up on Awakened Sextant. That's one more thing to note for the newer players. Some of these rolls can only show up starting on Prime. So Prime, you'll notice like shrines and stuff showing up. You know, Awakened, you'll notice like the more rare ones showing up, like this Beyond one, the Nemesis one. And Beyond, this one right here is probably the best one possible, because not only does it give you like a kind of a stacking more multiplier twice, right? Both in more monsters summoned, but also summoning range. But that is going to stack really, really well with all 4 nodes here. And you'll just have way more monsters. So way more loot, way more XP, and way more fun if you have a headhunter or inspired learnings, things like that. So I'll definitely put it right here. There is another zone with Beyond, and it's right here. It's actually not right here. Where is it? Oh, right here. In Haywark Hamlet, you do have 4 points for Beyond, but they're not as like spawn central. Like it doesn't really spawn as many Beyonds. So if you put it here, you also might not even take these 4 nodes, because you have something amazing in the harvest, and you might even want to go into stuff like this. Now, we'll talk about respec and stuff after all the sections, because there are some little like tidbits to know over as an overall, like, you know, strategy. But let's go on to the next one. So Beyond is super good. Definitely just put it right here, and then try to roll Beyond on the map device. You can definitely do that. Or you have Beyond on the map itself. And you get, like, I guess, technically quadruple Beyond. I kind of consider the Sextant to be half a Beyond, because it's not like real Beyond, but it's still pretty good. The next Sextant that I want to talk about is going to be Breach. Now, Breach is just absolutely amazing this league, because even if you didn't like Breach before because it was kind of slow, you know, splinters, that can be solved with things like loot filter and getting these points. So right now, I would personally say that Breach is the best with Flash Breach. Okay, these 4 points are really, really good, because, you know, you have chances of breaches, so it occurs more often. You actually notice it in your maps. You have things like pack size, basically, right? Because well, not really pack size, but it makes like the mobs magic instead of white. And then you have like things like Flash Breach, which makes it have 10 rare monsters. So 10 rare monsters is probably the equivalent of, I don't know, 200, 300 white monsters, and then it opens and closes 100% faster. If you're going to use breach scarabs that add extra breaches, or you have a breach sextant later on, you know, and all these things coming together with so many breaches, it's likely that there's going to be 2 breaches next to each other. And if you didn't know, you cannot open 2 breaches at once. You can only open 1 at once, which means that the faster it opens, you kill all the mobs, and the faster it closes, the faster you can open the next one. And that's super important in maps where they are close quarters. You know, like even in barrow chambers, it's not unlikely that you find 2 in one room, and then it's like, oh, I'm just playing a waiting game, because they do open super slow. Like you will notice the time saved, and of course, time saved is more time you can spend farming the next zone for more money. Okay, there's also breach zone here, and these have 6 points. So you might think that like this is more tailored towards breach, but I talked about it in my last video about all the Atlas tree points, that, like, you know, spawning a boss and the splinters are good, but only 2 of the bosses at the current time of this video have good splinters worth picking up, and only 1 of them in about a week will have any value, and that's the purple one, the Chayubi one, right? So you're kind of like, it doesn't really matter if a boss shows up, you know, like, yeah, they can drop their items and such like that, but most of the time they won't. And then this breach zone thing, like if it drops a charger enriched, it's kind of bricked, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's got 10% chance. So it's not as like reliable, I'd say, as this one, which is like always really good. Just get it done. And speed is kind of important in this game. So that is kind of cool. But if you like this one, you can also put it in Lex Proxima to get more of those watch stones. Okay, next one. So this one is kind of cool. Magic pack size, a very like, innocuous node. It just sits there. You're like, 30% magic monster. Is that good? I don't know. Like there's a map roll that's more magic monsters you can pair it with. But the reason that you might like magic monsters is because if you look at some of the nodes from before, there's a lot of nodes on the tree where like you just get more monster spawn, right? Like there's like the abyss one, there's a breach one, and so by kind of pairing this magic monster one with any of those, right? I think there's like 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. There's also an alva one. That is a multiplier. So look at something like, for example, this, right? If you were to take cultural advancement, right? So incursion monsters, and there's 3 incursions per map if you have an alpha mission on there, are at least magic. So that means there's no more white monsters. That's a lot of monsters in all 3 of those little incursions. And so if you pair that with a sextant like this, it will multiply, right? So same thing with things like Breach and Abyss. More magic monsters is way more loot than white monsters, and it is way more XP as well. So super cool. A lot of the time in the past, if you were going for pure monsters, you might even overroll this sextant of magic monsters because it wasn't like as noticeable, and it was kind of annoying having to search a map for like, search for your more magic monster maps, because then you would kind of notice it, but not really that big a deal. So but now there's a little bit more you can do with it. Do I recommend swapping the sextant around to like one of those zones? It will be noticeable, I think so, but it's not like of huge importance like the Atlas mission ones or anything like that. Okay, but it's just something that you can do and try it out. You might find that you're getting way more loot. The next one, Rogue Exiles. Okay, this sextant has, for me at least, almost always been overrolled unless it's the first week of the league where like you're kind of poor, you can't afford that many good sextants, and it's kind of just like, okay, whatever, it's there. But now it's still kind of bad in my opinion, because Rogue Exiles are straight garbage. Most of the stuff will be filtered off your loot filter, and pretty good for like low level formats, I'd say. But right now, Rogue Exiles are not that great. If you do want to, though, there is a counterplay in New Vestir. If you are doing maps in this region and you have, for whatever reason, you didn't take the Legion nodes, which are the Legion nodes are some of the most powerful nodes in the entire game right now. I would say like they're close to things like diplomatic escort, harbinger, and Parandus and stuff like that. So if you didn't take these 6 and you have like 4 free points, because I'm guessing your 4 free points will go to Abyss because it's like pretty good too. But if you went into this, okay, now I guess you have your exiles, you have your extra exiles, and they do benefit from things like this, right? So a chance to have additional rewards, I guess, right? So it's kind of cool, I guess, but this is definitely not a recommend, because the time used to like put it, move it over here and running maps with that, I feel like it's kind of a wasted sextant. But if you find that these rewards are amazing or something like that, then by all means move the sextant over and run maps in the region when you get the sextant. But I would recommend against this, even though it does have a skill tree for it. Next one is unique maps are accompanied by bodyguards. Now this one is usually overrolled in like past the first week or 2 for most players. You get the sextant and you just roll right over it because it doesn't really add that many monsters. Like a very, very small pack, a very, very small pack of like mobs are surrounding the boss is nothing. They drop a map. It's like, oh, okay, maps are saying this league is pretty insane. But there is a little bit to do with this one why you might not want to re-roll it, and that is because if you look at the Atlas right here, you can get things like this, right? And sometimes like there's this, and there's like a blight one where a map that drops can have some kind of like little enchantment on it, like extra layers of delirium. I think it's like a blight one. And what this means is that now this is a small chance, right? I don't know if this actually has like the small nodes. Yeah, it's just this one, so 10%. But if you take this node, right, it lasts for 3 maps. So that's at least 3 map drops. If you really like the thought of like getting more delirium or blight on your maps for free on maps that drop, right, 10% of the time, you could possibly move it into these zones. And that guaranteed map could be kind of nice. I don't know if when there's a ritual altar in the boss room and you kill those mobs that drop a map, if the respawn also drops a map. I do know that when a boss has an innate chance, I think it's 25% or something like that, to drop a map on kill. I do know that it seems like when you kill the boss first in the ritual and you do like 3 more rituals with the boss there, it does seem like a lot of maps drop on average, like a lot more. So maybe that works. I don't know if it does. Test it out. Maybe I will do that tomorrow. And that is another kind of little counterplay you could do if you want to, right? It's kind of cool if it procs. If it doesn't proc, it doesn't matter. You've kind of wasted a sextant. But this is very low priority to swap the watchman over. But just keep it in mind if you have nothing else to do and you're like, hey, I want to try this out, So that one's pretty cool. Next one is going to be the Harbinger one. So Harbinger only has one skill tree, and it's in Valdo's Rest. Now, this is, like I said before, this is one of the most overpowered ones in the entire game because now, if you look at these 2 small nodes, extra stack of currency shards could be anything. It could be a stack of Exalty shards. It could be a mirror shard stack. Nah, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be a mirror shard stack. Okay, but like you can dream. So they're gonna drop extra stacks of currency. It's really gonna fill up the screen if you don't have a very strict filter. So that those nodes in itself are pretty cool because if you've ever put in like a rusted Harbinger, I was doing this last night. Put in a rusted Harbinger, a regular Harbinger without the Sextant or without the Valdo's region or anything, it kind of sucks. Like the Harbinger doesn't really drop that much these days. And I think they might have even nerfed them behind the scenes because they knew this was coming. So, but if you do get this one and you get reinforcements, what happens is this is like 5 more Harbingers on top of the Harbinger that this one spawned, right? So really, really crazy. A lot of loot, a lot of ancient shards. Ancients are going to go up way up in price. So if you get this Sextant just juices that up to the next level, and you get a free one at the boss. And yeah, that's really, really cool, right? So definitely, I would say this one is 100% of the time. If you get that Sextant, you do not run that Sextant in any other zone under any circumstances because the average value return from these nodes will be better. So you just move that Sextant down into this zone, Valdo's Rest, and then run 3 maps there. Okay, I guarantee you that you will notice the difference. Okay. So that Sextant is really, really cool. Super rare Sextant, 250 weighting. You're not gonna get this that much, but it is it's still more common than things like Nemesis 3 or Hunted Traders. So it will show up once in a while. All right, next one. This one's Strongbox. Strongboxes, most people I would say in the current meta, they will not take Strongboxes because it is out. Strongboxes are outclassed right now by other things. I don't even know what a Strongbox zone is. Is it here? Yeah, right here. Because in Glenach Cairns, right, you have really, really good stuff like you have Beyond, you have 6 Legion points if you want, you have Alba, 6 Alba points. So like you're almost never going to take this, but here's something to consider, right? Let's say you have like a ton of monstrous treasures or something, or you want to run bountiful traps, like these are prophecies if you don't know. And you can always respec points. I'll put a little note at the end about respecing points for a specific purpose. But if for whatever reason you're taking these points, it kind of helps, right? This is like huge quality of life because you can do this yourself with Ouch and Whale Orb, but like it does it for you. And then triggering a box twice and having this 50% chance to additional pack, it's kind of nice. So if you get the Sextant, if you want to move it over here and you find yourself already running maps in Glenach Cairns, you could try that out, but otherwise it's not that big a deal. It's just kind of cool. Something that you can definitely do. Like 5% quantity is really nice. Like people do this a lot on like barrel chambers to try to like monster treasure it, but putting it over here, there's no like, I don't know if there's any maps in here that are worth doing that to when barrel chambers exist in such a good spot. So it's gonna be low priority, but if you want to move it over, sure. But know that you're probably better off using it in a really, really good zone with even like an ambush scarab or something, for example, like barrel chambers. And then the next one I'm talking about is Invasion Boss. So Invasion Boss has one skill tree. Invasion Boss was almost 100% a reroll to anybody because it's one monster. It's not very fun. Sometimes it is dangerous early in the league, and it didn't really have much impact on the map, right? Like one mob dropping some items, they can drop their league specifics, they can drop like anything cool. So it was just a reroll, instant reroll. But now we have things like this. So because every area contains additional Invasion Boss in Tyrn's End, and you can get the Sextant for 2 of them, and there's a little bit of quantity. 20% quantity is nothing to laugh at, right? Right, with all the juices that we have now. And then the valuable item. Now, this valuable item, I'm just gonna say that like I think I know. I'm kind of guessing here, but I think this can drop a lot of different stuff. Like I think this can drop like uniques. It can drop like identified uniques, which I guess are like could be league specific uniques, scarabs, other commodities that are like league specific. This is I'm not 100% sure on this, right? Because I haven't paid enough attention. But I think that's what valuable item is. If someone in the chat, someone in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong. But like this is really good because it's guaranteed. Okay, Abyss is not guaranteed every map, and for consistency, this one is. You get the Sextant, you get 2 of them, and you always get a valuable item. Okay, sometimes it can be trash, but if you can get something crazy, at every map that you're running in that area, why not, right? So I think this Sextant, because you're probably not gonna be running Tyrann's End when once again other options exist. If you do get the Sextant, I'd say it's worth trying out moving the Watchstone over into this region so that you can kind of try to pair it with this, okay? Or at least, do a little respec and test it out for yourself. So that's one cool little interaction there. And then for the last one I'll talk about is these are just ghosts. There's a bunch of different ghosts. There's ghosts that make the first 3 possessed monsters drop like a unique item. I think these can be league specific, by the way. So you could get a Headhunter. You could get a, what else is good? Like a Rislatha's. You could get maybe like a, something cool like a Badge of the Brotherhood. And unlikely, but it could happen. And there's also things that drop maps. Maps are cool these days, right? Once again, because in certain regions you have things like what's it called? You have things like maps rolling with certain enchantments. And then of course the most sought after one is Scarabs. So Scarabs, what that means is that the first 3 possessed monsters with a ghost in them, you can somehow influence this with 2 things, either skill tree, right, Shansei right here, or you can influence it with things like possessed foe. So what you're gonna do is you're definitely gonna take the Scarab one and you're gonna slot it into this one. So you guys see I have one right here. The first 3 monsters drop a Gilded Scarab. That's the Awakened Sextant. Polished and Rusted will be the Prime and Simple Sextant. And this is really reliable. So free 3 Gilded Scarabs when some of them are well over 10C, 20C. Especially later on, there's going to be Scarabs, I believe, that are going to be over 20C for sure. A chance of that is not too bad, right? That could pay for the entire cost of your map depending on how you're running it. And that's going to be pretty awesome for a guarantee. Once again, before this Atlas thing came out, this league, we used to have to do, there's like 2 different ghost prophecies that we were using to try to, or you had to like rush the ghost into the rare, and that's super annoying, right? And it's not reliable. So a lot of the time before, you would just like roll over the Sextant, and it actually got nerfed a little bit. It used to be like, I think it used to be like all possessed things had a Scarab, but now there's only 3 because people were abusing that a lot and farming like hundreds and thousands of Scarabs. But now it's pretty good. Definitely put it into Lex Proxima with this node Shansei right here. Okay. All right, so that's all I want to talk about for Sextants. If I miss anything, you put in the comments. But overall, I want to mention a few things, right? Number 1, fun is always most important. If something I mentioned or something that there's an interaction with that you can think of that's like, you're like, that seems kind of annoying, seems not fun, don't do it, right? Just make sure you're trying to have fun with it. Maybe later in the league you can come back and test it out. Another thing is respecking. So if you don't know, these refund points to refund, this 1 refund point per node, no matter if it's big or small. These nodes are really common and they're really cheap. So there's almost no, it's a little bit more expensive than, for example, respecking your passive tree for Regret Orb. It's about 5-8 times more expensive than that. But there's no risk in like trying something out and then coming back to your normal setup that you liked before. And I mention this because a lot of time, the things that I mentioned, the Sextants and the maps that you're running and the regions, you might see like, hey, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that, but I can't because I'm taking these nodes that are like really good for me. So what you could do in that instance is, let's say you save up a bunch, right? You see on the right side here how I only have 1 Albix I've been running in, and Einhar, and even Nico's a little bit low, about like 20 Junes. I've been saving that up for this region. In a few weeks time, you might have like hundreds of these, right? Depending on your luck with Bristle Matrons. And I don't even know if that's a spawn, but with your prophecies, things like that. So what you could do is you could save up like things like Masters or anything else you want. And in one fell swoop, do all of them with a respec. So let's say you are in Valdo's Rest and you took 4 points in Metamorph, you took another 2 points in Metamorph and 4 points in Harbinger. So you do not have this June one right here, right? What you could do is you could just like take out 2 points out of like the least valuable one. It's probably going to be either this or this that you have assigned. And you can just go ahead and put those 2 points into the good nodes for that time that you're going to run them. And then what you do is with those 2 nodes, cost you what? 16C to respec that, or well, maybe cost you 30C, 32C if you want to respec it back. And then once you respec, you can run everything all at once and then respec it back, right? That is one thing that you could try if you want to do a little bit of counterplay. And yeah, I hope you have some fun with that. I just want to make this quick video because there's a lot of cool interactions, and for things like this middle section, I just unlocked this middle section today. There's so many cool things I want to test out, and it's cool to see the meta develop around these things, and what solo players are doing, what group players are doing, what the solo self-found players are doing. And yeah, and if you have any questions, stream every day on Twitch at twitch.tv/cutedog_. Come ask me any questions you want. And thanks for watching my video. Okay, bye guys, bye.